What's up, guys? Welcome back to our podcast, A Court of Heaven and Hell. I'm Lauren, aka Heaven.
And I'm Ellie, also known as Hel.
And if you don't already know, we are a book podcast that focuses on different romantasy series and novels. And today we will be covering Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This episode will include our ratings, reviews, and thoughts about the book. We will start with a spoiler-free discussion and our ratings before fully diving in with our spoiler-inclusive reviews. But if you don't know, you want to go ahead and make sure that you are only listening to this if you have already read Powerless. This is a novella, but it is based off of events that do occur in the book Powerless. So there will be spoilers for Powerless included throughout this entire episode, including the spoiler-free portion.
Please see our show notes for content and trigger warnings. We are an explicit podcast for adults. Check out our past episodes. We have so many episodes out now, y'all, covering so many different romantasy books. So make sure to check those out. And lastly, take some time to rate and review us. Or if you're watching this video on YouTube, please like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into a very basic summary of what this book is about for you who don't know. Occurring at the same time and world as Powerless, we focus on Adina and a budding love before tragedy strikes. The next book is coming out in July, so super soon, and we're very excited about it. But yeah, like I said in the intro, this is definitely based off of events that occurred in Powerless. So, that being said, Ellie, what'd you rate this book?
This book is my 5-star read.
Period.
I loved it. I loved it, y'all. It was so good. I'm gonna go into details later, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but I fucking love Adina. I love her. I'm literally so sad of, like, her ending and Powerless. I really wish that didn't happen to her, but seeing her little side quest moment in this book, when Peta is having her whole story told as well, I fucking love getting to see her POV. I fucking love Mac. I am so excited for Reckless,
Mhm.
and this is solidified that this is going to be probably one of my favorite series potentially as of right now. I'm very good for me. I loved it so much.
I definitely agree. This book did get me really excited for the next book. I don't know how to explain it. Now, that being said, I will say I did give this a 4.25. I think that's pretty on par with what I gave Powerless, if I'm not mistaken. The story
Mhm.
graph rating is also 4.15. Not that that means anything. That's just like a average of all the different scores and whatnot. But it was very cute. It was like super cool getting the backstory for a character that we already love and being introduced to a new character who I love and I know is going to be part of the story going forward. Part of me almost wonders if this book was a way to introduce that specific character because he is going to be a big part of the story going forward. I'm definitely excited to see that. And this book made me feel all in the feels. We all know how Powerless ended, so we know where the story's going before you even get into it. And I will say that it definitely evoked emotion in me, which is something that like I always love from a book and is like greatly appreciated because not all books know how to do that in the right way. So I loved that about this book. Even getting my heart broken is always going to be an amazing experience if something got me to really feel something. So I do appreciate that about this book, and I did overall enjoy it. It's very short, obviously. I think it's around 200 and maybe 20 pages without the bonus chapters. So still very short, but super, super cute, super good, and a lot of good backstory, good setup for the next book. And I appreciated that about it. So 4.25. It was really good.
Yeah, even though it's 4 pages, y'all, the book's really small. So, like, it's really like 100.
Yeah, it's
It's
so
very
tiny.
quick read. It's so tiny, and people on the internet were so upset about it, but I loved it. I loved that it was tiny. I think it
Mhm.
was perfect for Adina. I think it's gonna look really cute to stack it on top of the series when it's done.
That's probably
So
exactly what I'm gonna do with it. Yeah, because it's so tiny, and at first, I was one of those people that was like, "What the hell?" But when you said that about stacking it on top of it, I was like, "Oh, I bet if it is a trilogy, it'll just perfectly slide, like, right on
yeah,
top of there."
I will say Lauren Roberts, I follow her on TikTok, and she did say there's going to be another novella at some point.
Ooh, I figured there would
So
be, honestly. I don't know
Excited.
why I figured that, but I did. I can't even think about who another novella would be about, but I'm definitely here for it. Yeah, I was gonna say, I really like this series. I like the world. I like the way that Lauren Roberts writes her characters. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to reading anything that she writes, especially in this world. That being said, those were our spoiler free reviews. We don't want to get too far into it for any of you that may not have read it. If you're thinking about it, definitely give it a read. We did really love it and enjoy it. But now we're going to go ahead and get into our full discussion, which will include spoilers. So if you haven't finished it or haven't read it yet, now is your time to bow out, and we hope you join us next week. All right. So that being said, I know you really loved this book. So what are some of the things that you loved about it?
I love this book so much. I've read it really quickly, but again, it's a very short book. And I was so nervous to start it, y'all, because we all know what happens in fucking Powerless. And Dina dies, which what the fuck? She doesn't deserve to die. Poor baby. I love her so much. I absolutely love getting a story about a softer character. I feel like so many romantasy books out there are just about really strong-willed women who, like, just don't back down from a fight, but she's so opposite of that. Not saying she's not strong, but she's very timid, and she doesn't like confrontation. She just wants everyone to get along and be nice, and I really like getting that for my character because I can really relate to her
Mm.
for being, like, a very shy, "Oh, I don't wanna, like, step on anyone's toes" sometimes. I love this so much. Yes. I will also say literally the ending was so beautifully written, and for me, the way that at the very end, you find out that Mac's now gonna see the sun as Adina, bro, I can't. I fucking loved it. The story was so poetic. The way that Lauren Roberts writes is so romantically poetic. I fucking love her writing. She is an amazing writer. I cannot wait to see what else she does. Something else I really liked, which I don't know if other people might disagree, but I love that this book was only about Adina's POV. We do see Peyton and Kai, like, for the shortest amount of time, but they're so in the background, like, it's picking up from the scenes in Powerless where Peyton leaves the room when Adina's working on her dress and stuff. We get to see what's happening with Adina during those moments. I really liked that. I didn't think we really needed to see those characters in this because it was a novella just about this one character. I don't know. I really loved the book. Literally, obviously, if you read Powerless, you have to read this fucking book because you do meet Mac, who Chef Kiss. Fucking love him. It's just, I love the book. Even though our girl died, I still loved it.
Yeah, honestly, I would have to say that our girl dying is what made this book have the impact that it did and made me
Mhm.
love it as much as I did. That being said, talking about what I loved about it, I will say that I like that Adina is a very different character to Peyton. I love that. And I loved getting to see just how much she loved Peyton and how much that relationship affected her life, especially based off of the other things that she had experienced in life. We got a lot of her backstory. I loved Adina in Powerless. Like, I loved her as a character already, but really getting to dive into her and see why she is the way that she is and what made her that way and what bonded her and Peyton. I really loved that. And it was just super cute. It was a super, super cute love story between Mac and Adina, obviously, but cute is the word for it. It definitely isn't like full blown romantic love story. There is romance there, don't get me wrong, but I would just say that I would describe it as cute. It's super, super cute. And speaking of Lauren Roberts writing, she does banter so well. She just, the way that she has her, like, her talk to each other is just always gonna set my heart aflutter. And it's just like you said, it's very poetic. It's very like sweet and just I don't know. It just you'll be like, oh my God, why don't people talk like this in real life? It's just it's super, super cute. So
Yeah.
I did love that. Love that about it. Overall, I did really enjoy this book. The fact that it's short is fine. We already know the ending of the story going into it, so I like that it wasn't just like this super long drawn out story about it. But yeah, it definitely will leave you heartbroken in the best way possible. And I did really like it.
Oh my gosh. Also, really quick, I want to add because I'm looking at my notes from Storygraph, which period, we love Storygraph, but not sponsored. But
I we wish.
Genuinely, yeah, Storygraph, hey. But anyway, Storygraph's the shit. But, anyway, so we have a buddy read on there, we could add our little comments, whatever. But, oh my god, I'm, like, looking at my comments, I was typing them down.
You were.
Dude, literally, I love that makes me so excited. I love that Mac is a fucking wielder. That is so cool.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
loved it. I think it's gonna be really interesting for whatever happens in the next book.
Mhm.
I think he's
For
gonna be
sure.
have a big part of it. Oh,
Oh, he's gonna be a
I
huge
love
part of
it.
the next book. Like I said, I hate to say it because I don't wanna take it all away from Adina's story, but if I'm being 100% honest, I really truly believe that we got this book because we had to be introduced to Mac. I feel like he's going to be a huge part of the story going forward.
Yeah. I fucking loved him. Okay. So moving on to what we didn't like about this book, I will say I really struggled to find something I didn't like about this book.
Yeah.
It was I really like this book, y'all, okay, if you can't tell. But
Yeah.
I will say this has nothing to do with really the story or the author. It's more of the publisher and the editors that are working on this book. I don't know if it's maybe just because we got or at least my book, I got as, like, the first first release batch that came out. They might have fixed it by now, I really hope they did, but there are so many
Mhm.
grammar typos in the book, which I don't really care about, to be honest. I am not a literary nerd, like, I don't give a fuck, like, my grammar sucks. I don't know, so I'm like, I don't really give a shit, but
Right.
there was so many times, though, that I was like, "Okay," like, I can oversee it if it happens every once in a while in books because it does happen in every single book.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was like, "Damn, that should be capitalized multiple times," and it wasn't, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god." But it's okay. I'm assuming they probably fixed it by now considering the book's been out for a little bit,
Mhm.
and it might just been, again, because I had the first batch that they probably printed. That's me, like, fighting for my life, trying to find something I didn't like about it.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I don't mind typos at all as long or like literary errors per se, as long as I can figure out what it was that you were intending to say. It's not, I don't know, as long as it doesn't take me out of the story. Because there have been books where I've read them and like the amount of errors has like literally taken me out of the story. I hate that, but I honestly didn't even notice it. If I'm being 100% honest, I pretty much read the first half of this book and then listened to the second half. At least in the half that I read, I didn't even really notice it if there was a bunch, but yeah, definitely fair. So maybe also I read it on I do have the physical book as always. Oh, I also am a big e-reader, so I did read it on my Kindle, and I know that a lot of times they can edit things in ebooks as they go along because they can update it. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't notice a lot of
true.
errors. And now you're making me want to go through my book and be like, did I did I have a bunch of errors? But I'm not gonna lie, it's more of a trophy anyways. So that being said, I want to make it clear, very clear, that I am by no means like trying to shit on this book. I did really like it. It was super cute. I will say though that majority of this book that really made me be like, "Oh, it was like over a 4-star read that was, like, really good," was the last couple chapters, like, from the point where Adina gets taken to the dungeon, basically. That was where this book just really started elevating for me, which is sad because it's, like, the moments where, like, they're not really together. I do wish that I didn't already know what was going to happen because I feel like it did prevent me from getting too attached to them as a couple and as a relationship because I already knew where it was going. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that I didn't like what they had together. I didn't appreciate it for what it was, but I did feel like it moved a little too quickly. It didn't really there was no slow burn, tension, really any of that, or if there was, it was very short-lived. It was like it was just cranked out. It was like, "Okay, this happened, and this happened," and I'm like, these people granted, it's so interesting to me because Kai and Peyton basically fell in love in the same amount of time, but it just seemed so much faster and just steam engines ahead with Mac and Adina. Not saying that that takes anything away from it or makes it less, like, of important or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know. I just, like, I really love tension and slow burn in a romance, and to me, that wasn't really here. There was one part that just made me be like, "Okay." The part when Adina comes in and she's being chased down the alley by these guys, I was like, "This is thrown in here to give them a 'who did this to you, kill touch her and you die' moment," because it just didn't really make sense to me. Why were they chasing her? Why did this dude come up to her again when she was in the square after Mac threatened him? The whole thing about him, "Oh, I made sure they knew who you were by ascribing you to them and down to the scar on your hand." I don't know, like, to me, that just didn't do it for me. It was a little bit, like, over the top. It was I hate to say it because, like, I did really, like, loved the end of this book so much that, like, it almost makes me hate to say anything bad about it, but that to me was just, like, it was corny. It was like, "Okay, come on, dude, like, I made sure they will remember who you are because I described you down to the last follicle on your head." It's like, this is a little bit over the top for me. I feel like they just really needed a moment that was gonna spark that difference between them being friends and them being, like, romantically involved, and I feel like that's what that was in there for. I didn't really see the point of it, especially because of just, like, where it ends and how like, where it goes. I just did I it felt very thrown in there for no reason. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I hate to do this. Everything comes back to Twilight, but it's like that it's like that fucking moment in Twilight where those guys are, like, chasing her and Edward has to save her. It was, like, trying to be that, and for me, it didn't quite hit the mark. So, yeah, I didn't love that. I almost wish that wasn't in there and there was, like, something else, like, maybe they went on a date or something that, like, I don't know, that just made it a little bit more believable because it was so rushed to me, and that part was like not that Mac isn't a badass in his own right, but it just seemed unbelievable to me. I don't know, it was just a little bit corny. I didn't really care for that part. And then, like I already said, just felt rushed due to the book being so short. One example of this is just like when his cousin died and he just gets over it. I know that he talks about it later where I mourn her every day and I think about her and I'm still in mourning, but I only let myself cry that one night. I just felt like realistically, there would have been more anger and more especially just based off of who Mac was as a character in the beginning of the book and, like, how that was his whole goal and how he even met Adina in the first place, and I don't know, I just felt that was weird, and I understand that part of this is because it is such a short book, so it's a novella, so she's trying to, like, just get us to the end line, like, as soon as possible, but I just feel like think about it, if this was a regular 400, 500-page book, that wouldn't have been glossed over like that, and I feel like it was. I feel like she didn't really give that the kind of nuance that it would need for that situation, especially being that Adina left him and abandoned their plans, and so he wasn't able to get in and save her. If we're being realistic, like, there would have been some blame, some anger on his part towards Adina for that, and so I don't know, I found that kinda hard to believe, I didn't really buy that. And then, yeah, like, the same thing that you loved about it, how it was so, like, focused on Adina and Mac. I didn't mind that, but I did feel like I do wish that there was more interactions with them and the other characters, and it wasn't just so much just, like, the 2 of them because it just felt I don't know, it made it feel less like a whole book and more just like a, "Let me just go through and tell you how these people fell in love real quick," because it's just I don't know, like, the few tie-ins that we did get, to me, there was one big thing that, like, stood out to me, and there was, like, a few things, but for the most part, like, all it did was make me hate King more than I already hate him. It made me like Kai more than I already liked him. It made me, like it just reiterated everything that I already felt about the people that were involved, the other characters in these books. So, I don't know. And also, okay, I'm sorry, but for the very little interaction we get with other people, okay? She literally runs into every single man in the royal family, and I don't just mean, like, runs into them. She literally, the same exact way 3 times, she runs into Kit, she runs into Kai, and she runs into the king, like, in the exact same way, and I'm like, is there like, was that the only way that you could put these people into this story for her to meet them? She ran around a corner and literally knocked into all 3 of them in the same exact way. It was just, like, a little bit like, "Okay, this just feels like you're just trying to get this in here." It wasn't really the best thought out. So, that being said, those are the only things that really stood out to me. I know that, like, it might seem like a lot. It wasn't. Those are, like minor things. I do wish that I didn't feel that way about those things. Obviously, I wish that they weren't in there, but it didn't like make me hate the story or not like it or anything like that. It just took me out of it for some of it and made me think some of it could have been a little bit better. And yeah, it's what brought it down from being like a 5-star for me. Like it's super cute. Cute is the word. This is adorable and heart-wrenching. It really is. But if it's not, I don't know, like with the exception of being introduced to Matt, if if this book didn't happen, I still would have come out feeling the exact same way because of reading Powerless, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Moving on to our favorite moments and quotes. This book had the best fucking quotes. Anyway, so really quick though, I thought of something that I want to add to the things I really like about this book. I love that this book, saying with Powerless, is a dual POV. I fucking love it. I really like it. I love getting to see the main male character's thought process too. It makes me like them so much more. Oh my God. Okay, obviously we love Adina. She's a precious angel baby who
Mm,
didn't deserve what happened to her. She was such a pure soul. I love her so much. Rip. Like forever rip. I love her.
mm.
But dude, fucking love Mac. Do I like Mac more or Kai? That's where I'm at. That's
I
how
feel
much I
you.
love Mac. Like, I loved Mac.
I feel you.
I really liked him. I think in the next book he's probably gonna have obviously a hard time like getting over Adina. I don't think he ever will really get over her in the way, but dude, this man was spitting them lines.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love, again, the symbolism between the stars and light and Adina. And at the very end, and I like, pull up my quote really quick. God, the ending was so sad, but it was like also like such a beautiful ending at the same time.
Mm.
Not with the fact that she died, but like just the way that it was just, again, it was just poetic as fuck. I was like, "Damn, Lauren, you need to write some freaking poetry."
Yeah. I don't wanna go too far back into what I didn't like, but I did feel
Uh-huh.
like the poetry got a little out of hand at some points. But I do feel like as an author, as far as the quotes and the banter, her words are beautiful. They are beautiful, but
Mhm.
sometimes she's waxing a little poetic. Like, it's a little on the side of, "Okay,
I
okay."
love it.
But the
I love
end
it.
of it was, like, those last 4 or 5 chapters are, like, literally just beautiful, like, beautifully written. Like, they are the reason that, I gave this book over 4 stars because, wow, the ending is gorgeous.
Yeah, and at the ending, oh my god, I was, like, crying. Oof, I was crying, man, but in the ending when Mac is, like, with Adina and she's dying, whatever, and he was just like, "Oh, I'll see you in the sky." I can't. I
Yeah.
can't, and then he makes the connection that because he said earlier, and I know you put this quote in here, I was gonna read it as well, if that's okay, because it kinda goes with what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But when Max says, quote, "Because one day far from now, you will be up there beside them, outshining every single one," I was like, "Bro, what fucking fortune." It was
Yeah.
so cute. I loved it. I fucking loved it. And the fact that Dina's now, like, this personification of the sun being the brightest star in the sky for him is so fucking cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved it, dude.
That whole last part where he's, counting down and, literally he can because the fact that he's a wielder makes him able to literally feel her power, leaving, and it's so he knows the exact
Mhm.
moment that she dies even though he can't be with her directly. Man, I'll start crying just thinking about that now. Like, the last from the point where, like I said, she goes to the dungeon and they literally you just find out, "Oh, I wish Peyton could unkill the king and kill him again because you find out that they broke her fingers, so she couldn't just as a final fuck you to her. She didn't even do anything. God, I will cry.
I'm crying.
I will say that this book,
I fucking cry.
yeah, the last few chapters definitely Adina, like you said, she did not deserve that. I will also say that I love that I got to experience that in this book because honestly, I was so pissed at Peyton when I read this part in Powerless that, like, I didn't get to feel the full effect of Adina's death like that. So hearing it from her point of view and just how she kept her positivity even when she had been broken and I will literally I'll be saying crying. It was beautiful. So yeah, I will say that. Yeah, definitely the last few chapters of this book are just like if you're going to read it for anything, like read it for that because it's just oh my god, I don't know. I wish I literally the only thing that pissed me off is that the king is already dead because he deserves to be killed like
Well,
again and again. Oh, but yeah, just Mac and Adina that ending part, it doesn't matter to me if the buildup didn't really go do what I wanted it to do, the way that it ended. And when she's talking at the end and she says, oh my God, she literally says, my one a friend and one unfinished. I just was like, oh my God, like they didn't even really get to have their great love that they would have had. But to know that she had such an effect on Peyton's life and on Mac's life, like I just yeah, it was really beautiful. So, yeah, definitely, I don't know. Oof, it ripped my heart out. So, there was that.
anyway, I was crying on the podcast. Jesus, y'all,
Literally,
I'm
I
sorry.
will start crying again if I just think about it. Like it's literally
I
it's
wanna read this quote so bad, but I can't because I know I'm gonna start crying if I do. But anyway,
oh, but yeah.
ugh,
So, I know that you read the first part of it, but the whole like you make the stars envious. Obviously, I don't even know if it can be considered foreshadowing because as you're reading it, you already know that when he's like one day far from now, that day is not that far away. But when at the very end, Adina is like, oh, this is like the quote that I was just trying to fucking put together. I literally had it written right here. But as she's like saying her final goodbye, she says, in the end, it was all light and dark, loud and soft. I knew nothing but the memory of those I loved. One a friend, the other unfinished. And that alone is what I took with me into the next life. But I watched warm and bright and high above, just as he promised. Oh, good job, Lauren.
not me. You're not trying to sob right now.
Oh my God, I can't. Like literally,
Totally fine.
it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And Mac's ending is just as beautiful as he's counting down the moment until she passes.
It's totally fine.
Literally, yeah. Like I said, things that I was talking about earlier, to me, I do want to be honest about like how I felt about it when I was reading it. But when you get to that last final part, it's just, yeah. I don't think I definitely have never cried like that on the podcast before, but yeah. Um,
I I cried. I edited it out, but I have cried on the podcast before, but I edited it out, y'all. So
yeah.
the first time. Sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. This book was
Uh, this book
if you read
deserves
this book, you
tears.
cried.
Yeah, this book deserved my
Mm,
tears.
I just the way that the author write I don't know, just the way that she wrote that scene, and I was just like, "Man, that shit was so beautiful," and I it makes me excited to see how she's going to write Mac's grief process because I feel like
God.
it's gonna be awful.
Yeah, God. And it has to be done alongside some pretty serious other stuff because obviously Mac's not going to be the point of view in the next book. So we're only going to get to see part of that unless he gets his own novella in the next one. But yeah,
Oh, I
it's
would
just
love
like
that.
an unfinished love story. That's what powerful is. I love Adina. I'm so thankful that we got to spend the time that we did with her. And I know I said earlier if this book didn't get written other than introducing Mac, it probably would have been okay, but I will say that I'm so thankful that I did get to read it just because that last part, like I said, I didn't really get to feel the full effect of Adina's death in Powerless because of just all the other things that were going on, and it was such a big reveal right after that, like, I feel like I didn't really get to sit with me, but this book, when it ends, that's just it. It ends like that, and so it's just there's nothing to do but for it to just sit with you, and I am very thankful that I got to spend the time with Adina that I did, and that she had the effect on the other characters that she did because she's just like a beautiful soul. I'm talking about her like she's a real person, but yeah, she is to me as like a lot of my favorite book characters are. So definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
thank Lauren for that because holy moly.
No, seriously. Literally, thank you so much. I will be sending you my therapy bill. But
Yes, seriously. Yeah. Okay.
the
Wow.
way yeah, the way she writes characters is so good, dude. It's been a fucking minute. That's why I will say Powerless has been my favorite series or book series I have read this year so far
Mhm.
because the way she writes characters and the fact that it is a dual POV,
Yeah.
it's like you can relate to these people. Even though like if you're nothing like them, you can understand them and you can relate to them really well. And I feel like a lot of the books I've been reading, I've had a really hard time connecting with characters. And I do connect with Adina in a way because I'm like, I don't know, I'm like awkward as fuck and I don't like speaking up for myself sometimes. And she's the same way.
Mhm.
And I'm like, bro, I'm so upset. I'm so upset. I'm also like on like my sewing journey. So I'm like, oh my God, I love her so much. And I don't know, the way that she writes is just amazing. And I'm so excited for her career as an author because she's only to get better from here. And
Yeah.
she's so young. Like she's literally 20. She's
Yeah.
gonna have amazing books. I will read anything that this girl puts out, and I would love to go to a fucking book signing from her one day. I would freak out.
Yeah. Yeah, she's wow, like I said, like, I don't know, like, the way, like, her dialogue is just
Mhm.
literally, it's perfect. I don't always agree with everything she does plot-wise or everything like that. I think she will only get better. As far as the writing goes, I do feel like she's doing a great job. Like, I'm not trying to say anything about it. She's a fantastic author, and I think that her future is definitely, like, bright. But just very specifically, like, her dialogue between people is just yeah, and I haven't had a moment, like, that made me cry like that since the 13, to be 100% honest. So
No, I was really about to say, and the fact that it's basically the second installment of the series, and I'm
mhm,
already crying like a fucking baby. I'm like, she knows how to pull on your heartstrings.
yeah. I did cry about Liam too, but I don't know if I cried like that just because
I didn't
I
like
did.
I cried too, but I wasn't yeah. Oh, I will say, if we got a Liam novella, I probably would cry a lot. His relationship with his sister and stuff, and seeing her have to deal with it, that would be really sad. But, like, Adina's just so cute, and she's just I don't know, I'm trying to think of another character that reminds me of her. It's just someone that you, like, wanna she's so nice, so nice. And she isn't, like she's so naive, but, like, in such a good way. Like, she just I don't know.
Yeah, there's a character like that in Serpents and the Wings of Night. I know you haven't read it yet, but there's a character like that, and I loved her. I loved her. So, like, just seeing
Oh,
that, like,
fuck.
coming, like, through I don't know, I do love characters like that. It's so funny because I'm not a Peyton and I'm not an Adina, but I love both of them so much for different reasons. I wish I was a badass like Peyton, and I wish I was a little bit more positive and happy and just kind and loving all the time like Adina. I do love both of these characters, and like I said early on, I love that they're so beautiful, but in different ways, and yeah, like you said, Adina is like Peyton is strong, like strong-willed, like, literally like a fighter, all of that, but Adina is strong in a different way, and it's just so beautiful to see, like, just all the different types of women and just people that make the world go round, and yeah, I really love that. One of the things I love about romantasy, the genre itself, is just, like, how the female characters I don't know, it's just it's unlike any other genre I've ever read when it comes to just, like, the empowerment of female characters, and just I love romantasy for that reason.
Period.
But yeah,
Okay.
okay, I have to
So
stop
enough of
crying.
us yeah, enough of us crying.
Oh my god,
We're
I
going
literally
to move on to what we would like to see in the future books. I will say the novella did have chapter of Peyton and Kai's start of the next book. I didn't read them. I
me
did
either,
not
I
read
haven't read
them.
them
I
yet.
have no idea what the fuck they say. I don't know if I'm gonna read them, to be honest. Before I just wanna wait for the book to come out.
It's
But
so
they were, like,
close.
chunky chapters. I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, because when I was reading it, it'll tell me it was like, "You're only at 60%," and I was like, "It says I only have 10 minutes left in the book," and I'm like,
Yeah.
60%? The whole fucking 30% of a book is in these bonus chapters, like, what the hell?
Dude, it was yeah, I didn't read them, but
I
I don't
haven't
know.
yet. I might not be able to, but I don't know. July's so close, so close. Dude, the
So close.
only thing I fucking know, if the UK gets Reckless before we do by a whole month,
Good point.
I will riot, okay? Because when
Okay,
I
fair,
logged
fair.
in to try to buy this book when it was supposed to
Dude,
come out early April and I was unable to buy it until the 30th, I was already pissed off, but I was able to wait for this one a little bit more because I knew it was going to be sad. And even once I got
mhm.
this book, it took me a minute to really ante up the courage to read it. But if it says that Power or Reckless is coming out July 4th and I don't get it until August or late July, I will riot. I will riot.
Dude, okay, okay. I checked online. It says on Barnes& and Noble that it will be released on July 2nd. So, I think
It
I mean, it
better.
has 'cause no, I would literally I can't, sorry, but I was on TikTok, and I was seeing all these videos of all these girls, like, crying about Powerful, and I'm like, "Bitch, I have to wait so much longer."
It was literally like 3 weeks later, which I know that sounds so dramatic, but like, come on. That's a long time for because social media exists and we're very much on book talk. And so, of course, we're going to get people reading it and talking about it. And it's hard to spoil a book that you already know the ending of. But I just
Mhm.
mean, I cannot have that happen with Reckless. I will
Fair.
literally riot. I will make
I
an
would be
ass of
so
myself on the
upset.
internet.
Okay, apparently from what I know, it does come out July 2nd,
Okay,
so
perfect.
I'm gonna
So
go
that's
ahead and
all.
fucking order it.
So, anyways, yeah, that's really only a month out, you guys. So that's why I don't know if I'm going to read the bonus chapters or not. I might just hold out because sometimes when you read the chapters early, then it just makes it that much worse when you finally have to wait for
Yeah.
the rest of it. So I might wait too. I haven't decided yet. But as of right now, I haven't read the bonus chapters. Don't know what they say. I just know that they're from Kai and Peyton's perspective again.
Yes. So, anyway, with that being said, sorry, y'all.
Sorry,
Moving off.
I had to get that out there because I was
No,
like,
because that is such a good point. I forgot because I remember, like, we even saw on the podcast it was getting released this date, and then I go on my Amazon because I pre-ordered it from Amazon, and it was the day of the release, and it didn't say it was shipped or anything, it just said ordered placed, and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Why is it not coming? Do I have to go to Barnes& and Noble and pick it up? Because I will."
because I will.
But then, like, I was like, "Wait, does it include the United States?" I was like, "What? Isn't the author from the United States?" I was like,
Mhm.
"Why is it only the UK?" That was so weird.
Yeah, if you're gonna release it,
Very
just release it
weird.
all at the same time. Now, like
Please.
I said, again, with Powerful, at least it was one of those things where it's hard to spoil a book that you already know pretty much what's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
for Reckless, if I find
No.
out one detail about
Swear
that
to
book before
God.
I read it, I swear to God.
Dude, I really wish there was, like, a midnight release, but I don't think the series is big enough now,
Don't
fortunately.
I think there might be. I don't know if they've
Oh,
announced any in Georgia. There is definitely a midnight release somewhere because Lauren Roberts
I
posted about it on her page.
yeah, I saw there was one at the Union Station or something in New York
Yeah,
City, and she's
that's
gonna be there, which makes sense because it's, like, the biggest Barnes& and Noble in the world,
yeah, exactly.
but I'm not gonna travel in to New York City
No,
for
I'm
this
not
stuff.
I really like these books, but I'm not traveling to New York City, but I'm just saying we might get surprised. There might be like a little pop-up something somewhere.
Dude, I fucking hope so. Please, please. I would go to this thing.
Yeah, no,
God,
we would
yeah.
definitely be there. I'll be Adina. Rip.
I'll be I'm not I don't know. Who the fuck I'll be Kai. I have
I was
black hair. I don't know.
literally just about to say you could be Kai. Oh man. Oh, also, okay, I didn't talk about it, but I fucking loved the moment where Adina finally met Kai and she was like talking about which prince
Yeah.
he was rooting for and how they were gonna be in game and how they were like meant for each other. Oh, stop it. I was like, oh my God. At least she got to know that before she passed. Like she predicted that for
Damn,
her
dude.
friend.
Damn.
So
Okay,
anyways,
anyway.
back to the
Anyway,
future
again.
books.
Okay, yes, future books. So, I don't really know what theories I have, honestly, for the next book coming out. All I will say is I think there might be, like, a slight, small, potentially power struggle between Mac and Kai, considering they're both wielders, maybe?
I think it's possible, if I'm being
You
100% honest.
think? Okay.
I was
I
good.
don't know.
It's in my thing too. I think that Mac's gonna try to get
Oh,
revenge. I think
I
that
wonder. Okay, I hope he's the one who gets to kill whoever the fuck her name is. What's her
Blair.
fucking name? Blair. I hope he gets to kill
Oh,
fuck her. I hope she suffers a terrible death.
that would be
I
so
hate
good.
her. I hate her even more now, y'all.
That would be so
But
good.
she's gonna okay, but also, if she ends up with fucking Kit and becomes, like, the queen, I'm gonna poop in my pants.
I hope Kit I'm sorry. Liked Kit, okay? I liked Kit. The second that these motherfuckers, even Kai right now is teetering, even though I know Kai is gonna come to his senses, he's just
Yeah.
hurt. But even Kai right now is teetering. Y'all are picking your psychopath ass, genocide causing father over this girl who you've seen. Now, granted, I will always admit that Peyton did betray Kit, okay? She did.
Yeah,
But
she
come
did.
on. But come on, your dad is a piece of shit. Look at how he's treated Kai his whole life. How many times do I have to say this? I feel like I say this about so many books. I'm like, open your fucking eyes. Take a look around you. Like, you guys are smart people. Your dad's a piece
Mhm.
of shit. Your dad's a piece of shit. It's not even like it's not known. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I cannot believe you're turning into him
Mhm.
instead of taking the right side of things. Like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be hurt. Of course, it's going to hurt to lose your father, especially if you're Kit, who was actually somewhat close with his dad. But I
Yeah.
also need you to acknowledge who your father is. Okay. I know you've probably never watched
Mhm.
One Tree Hill a day in your life, but if your dad is Dan
No.
Scott, if your dad is Dan Scott, I need you to be a Nathan. Okay. I don't need you to be an idiot. Okay. Because at some point you have to acknowledge your dad's a piece of shit, even if you love him. Okay. So there you go. I know you've never
Period.
watched One Tree Hill, but if those who have watched it, you'll
Alright.
get it. You know what I'm talking about. But yes, already talked about that. I do think that there is going to be a power struggle is a great word. I didn't even, like you said, I don't think it'll last long, but I do think Mac
Mhm.
and Kai are going to have it out. And I think that could be part of what makes Kai realize just what a piece of shit his dad is. I think Kai already knows and he just needs that little boost. But I think realizing that there's another person who can do the same thing as him and realizing that it shouldn't be as rare as it is will also help him come to the realization of what a piece of shit his dad is. And I do think that Mac is maybe going to try to find Peyton or help Peyton before Kai gets to her because we know that he's going to go searching for her. So I do see that
Right.
being like a big part of it. I think that Mac is going to end up wherever the hell ends up at some point. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how that's going to go, but I do, like I said, and I've said this several times in this episode, this book was meant to be an introduction for Mac into the story because he's going to end up being a big part of the story. And I do believe that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I would actually love to see them duke it out. Wielder versus wielder, fighter versus fighter. I would love to see that moment and then see them go to being like the best of friends. That would be a good little storyline. And I'd be here for it.
I'm very curious about what's gonna happen. God, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And then the last thing that kind of is a crack theory, but I'm here for it. I haven't done one of these for Powerless. Have I? Maybe. Maybe I did do some crack
No,
theories,
I
but
don't
I
remember.
I don't remember either. A lot of these rates and reviews, we don't really get into like the nitty-gritty theories, but something that was said in this book that just I don't know why it jumped out at me, but it's when we find out that Mac is a wielder. So, chapter 15, Mac is basically talking about like why he's hidden the fact that he's a wielder. We found out this big secret about him. And he says, just like the Fatals, he only kept one of each and now has a wielder who happens to be a son he can control. Crap theory. But is it possible that Kai's not the king's son?
I can see it. Wait, okay, I need to remember who okay, so Kai and Kit, they're half brothers, right? Who is Kai's mom? Is she alive? Kit's mom is the one that's with the king, I think.
Wait, I thought it was Kai's mom that was with the king. Hold on.
Wait, God, I don't know
I
how I'm
feel like
gonna
it's
do.
Kai's mom because I feel like Kai talks about his mom.
Hmm. Okay, no, Kai's mom is the
Mm.
current queen. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think
Oh, yeah.
so.
Okay. He had a wife who died while giving birth to his first son, Kit. Afterwards, he married the daughter of a trusted advisor. Unsurprisingly, he quickly fell in love with her caring and kindness, her bravery and beauty. She bore him a second son, Kai. I think that Kai might not actually be his son. Now, I could be wrong, could be total crack theory. I'm not saying that I know who his dad is, but I don't know why. I'm just getting those vibes. I'm just getting those vibes. And it came from that specific line. He only kept one of each and now has a wielder who happens to be a son he can control. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a possibility that's not his kid. We focus so much on how Kit looks exactly like his father, and Kai
Good
looks
point.
nothing like his father.
Damn. Do you
And he
think that him and Mac are related?
I didn't, but now maybe. No, I don't
What is
know.
okay? Okay, wait. To make this work, okay, it's just a question of who.
To make this work, Mac's dad, oh no, because they were like poor, mundane. Mac's dad, before he had, wait, we don't know the ages of Mac. That's the only thing. Do we? Okay, wait. So Mac's dad and Kai's mom were in love and they had a little tryst and she got pregnant. But then when Kit's dad died, the trusted advisor basically gave her to the king and she was already pregnant with Mac's dad's baby. And she passed it off as like she wasn't pregnant and that it was his. And he doesn't even know that it's not his son. That's if they're brothers. But if not, I believe that he could possibly just be a wielder or the child of a wielder that they knew was going to be a wielder. And so the dad claimed him and said he was his son because he knew there was not going to be somebody more powerful to be an enforcer. And if he could take him from a small child, he could manipulate him into becoming the person that he is now. And also, that's why he never really loved him as much as Kit, while he treated him like that, and why he
Mhm.
looks nothing like him. That's my theory. Crack theory? Yes, but also there's some validity. Oh,
I think my croc theory is that they're somehow related.
huh?
I think my croc theory is gonna be that they're somehow related.
That
I'm trying to piece this together, like how they could potentially be related because Mac has a cousin, right?
Hera, she died in the trial, but yeah.
I'm like, they both have dark long hair, but they're
And
definitely a different race, which
yes.
is so what the fuck because I'm looking at the wiki page and like the fan art they have of Mac is like he's a white man. I'm like, no, he's not. Anyway,
Okay. The only thing is, though, that I feel like if Mac is half Asian, it has to be his dad that's Asian because of his name, his last name too. Not that really
good
matters,
point.
but I feel like that has to, because if the name is like the giveaway there, then I feel like that has to be his dad. So then his dad, that
Oh,
means Kai would either have to be also half Asian or, like I said, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's possible that they're related, but I feel like that's a little bit of a harder stretch for me to make.
I'm so curious about him now because the wiki page says that Mac's parents never wanted a kid from the start. Okay, what if he like an adoptive son then? And
If
like they were
Mac
forced.
is adopted?
I'm saying like the wiki page says that his parents never wanted a kid from the beginning. So did someone have him and then they forced his family maybe to like I don't
I'm
know,
not
make word.
I'm not getting that, but only because I literally read this pretty recently, like very recently, and I read that part like today. So I know that his parents, like the whole thing was that his parents literally did not want him. And like his dad actually attacked him. That's how he got the scar on his mouth because he said, "You couldn't be of use
Right.
to me to the king." So there's no way that they would have adopted him just for no reason. They definitely like had to be burdened by him because, like, also them keeping his secret was part of the reason that they couldn't live life the way they wanted to, I guess.
Anyway,
It was just the way it was written that just sparked this in me. I was like, "Bro, Kai's not the king's son."
that would make sense because they don't look alike. Like you said, like it's mentioned so many times that Kit looks exactly like him.
and he has this super special secret ability that he's basically eliminated from other people. So he would be the only person who had that power, or he thinks he's the only one who has that control of that power, I should say. He thinks that by having Kai, he controls that ability, and that was, like, the perfect ability for his enforcer to have. It's why he's so powerful. It would just make sense if when Kai was a baby, he found out somehow, or maybe he bred to him in a way to be that. Because think about it. If you're somebody who's as evil and fucking twisted as that guy is, are you gonna risk letting somebody who already has this power, already is powerful and can control it and stuff, be your advisor when they could potentially rise up against you because they already have a thought process? Or are you going to try to have a kid that has that ability and then raise them to be manipulated by you so that
Mhm.
they don't know any better so that they wouldn't rise up against you? I don't know. I think there's something there, bro. I think there's
Me
something
too. It's a
there.
good point.
I don't know. It's just too many things. The whole, like I said, Kit, it's mentioned almost too many times how Kit looks exactly like his father and Kai doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But all I know is that I cannot wait for Reckless. That's my crack theory, my crazy prediction for the next book. I don't know how many books this is supposed to be. I'm assuming it's at very least a trilogy, but I don't know when it's going to happen. But y'all mark my words. I said it here today. We're going to find
Yep.
out that Kai Azar is not actually Kai Azar. Or he is, but he's just not actually the king's son, which will be good for him
Period.
because the king's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, this was a really fun one. You got to really see a different emotional side of us today. Really, really loved this book. It's beautiful. It obviously, if you've made it this far, you've probably already read it, but just, yeah, this one will stick with me for a little while. Rest in peace, Adina. We will definitely miss you. Thank you for the effect that you had on all the people around you, and I hope that they carry it with them through these next few books. We hope that you guys did enjoy our episode today. We will definitely be covering the next book when it comes out in July, so keep posted for that. Email or DM us any other romantasy books or series that you want us to cover. Please feel free to send them our ways. We're always looking for new suggestions. And please go ahead and check out some of our other episodes if you haven't. We have many more like this on many different romantasy series, and there's only more to come in the future. So stay posted for that. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and like if you were watching on YouTube, or if you're listening, go ahead and give us a rating and review us. It helps us out a ton. And either way, share us with your bookish friends. Give us a follow over on our socials. We're a Court of Heaven and Hell on TikTok and Instagram. We just want to let you guys know that we love you guys. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here with us week after week. Your support means the world to us. So today, the quote is, to the girls with softer dreams, your purpose is just as powerful. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.